don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this screwed up thing here. Why is it like that? Oh, it's because we were on last night live. I understand it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is another episode of the Political Spotlight. We are sorry that we were not here last night. I apologize. The meeting of the Madison County Council that we were live streaming last night, live on location, I didn't think that it was going to take as long as it did. And the episode that we were kind of planning for last night's live video specifically was curtailed to the Madison County Council meeting. And then when the meeting ran long and I knew Katherine wasn't going to be able to get home in time, I thought, you know what, we'll just postpone this. We'll let everybody have a night off. And we are here. So tonight we're back. Sorry for not being here last night. For those of you that went to bed mad and upset, you know, I understand. You need your fix of me or your day is not good. So we are here. Sorry about that. It's good to have some time off every now and then. But we are back, and listen, I want to tell everybody, generally, it's always interesting. So the Madison County episodes always do really well because there is a large group of Madison County and people who are concerned about Madison County that are always very interested in it. But I know that some of my other people from other areas are like, oh, Madison County, you got to listen to this, okay? I was not in attendance, but I watched the live stream in live time of the Madison County meeting last night from gavel to gavel or from meeting open to meeting closed. I don't think they gavel anymore. I think Ben Gale stole the gavel, okay? And I'm telling you, I am mad about the meeting last night. I'm mad and I'm happy. I think you're going to be interesting to hear. It's going to be interesting to hear Katherine and I's take on some aspects of the meeting. It's going to be interesting. But I want to tell everybody that's not from Madison County, listen to me. There are going to be a lot of takeaways that have nothing to do with Madison County. The Madison County people will love it because it's going to focus on Madison County's council meeting last night. But the non-Madison County people, please stick with me. Stick with us because there's a lot of information that could pertain to Henry County, could pertain to Winchester or Muncie or Indianapolis or Colorado or New York. because there's a lot of stuff going on last night, which is very interesting. A lot of things that I'm happy with, a lot of things that I'm frustrated about. I know Catherine's got a lot to say. So before we get started, do us a favor and go ahead and click that thumb. Do the YouTube thing. If you're on YouTube, click that. If you're on X, share it or do whatever you do there. I don't even really know what the thing is on X, but do what you got to do there. Help give us some love. Click the thumb and give us all of that. Share the show with everyone you know. If you're here and you want to watch and communicate with us live, we're coming to you on Wednesday, March 12th. Happy 66th birthday to my stepfather, Philip DeFries. So if you're watching live and you want to comment, you can comment over there. If you're watching in the future via replay or whatever you do like that, comment down below. And above all else, share the show with everyone you know. This will be a good thing. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring up Dr. Katherine Callahan so we can get this party started.
Listen, I'm on there liking myself, so I'm giving myself a thumbs up. So anybody who's on here is not giving me a thumbs up.
Yeah,
I got you covered.
You've got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah. So number one, real quick, let's just say there was no. Let's talk about this straight off the bat because I saw some people talking about it last night. So there was no Anderson City Council meeting.
That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. It's been canceled.
And
Jennifer Culp's excited about that. I've never seen council members excited that you're canceling meetings.
Yeah.
Except for like when it was Rob Steele or Diana Likens. I mean, listen, you people ran for this. Like, you need to meet 12 times a year. I don't know why you sign up for this and then you don't want to meet. There's always a time where you can have a town hall. You can listen to your constituents. You can in the forum. Like you can do this. You can be open and you can be transparent. But the last thing they were doing over there at the city council, they're actually trying to cut out public comment.
Well, so I want to talk about this just for a second because I've heard of this happening in town, in town councils like say, for example, Chesterfield or Yorktown or Daleville or Albany. I've heard of a town council saying, well, we don't have anything to discuss. We don't have any new business to come forward. We don't have any old business. We've got no business being here. No kidding. But I've heard of them saying that and canceling, like if they have 2 meetings a month, like the 1st and the 3rd or the 2nd and the 4th, I've heard of them canceling a meeting and then having the other, or from time to time, I've actually even heard of them canceling both if there's for some reason. But the weird thing about town council is town councils have to actually pay the bills. So they would have to pay them in some other way. I've heard of third-class cities doing this. I know Winchester's done it once that I've known about. But the difference between a second-class city and a third-class city, like Muncie City Council, Anderson City Council, Indianapolis City County Council, Fort Wayne, whatever, they don't pay the bills the same way that, say, Winchester pays the bills or Newcastle pays the bills. No, excuse me. I take that back. Newcastle's not a third-class city.
Listen, I just want to see a first-class city.
Well, yeah, right. That's the only first-class city we have is Indianapolis. That's the only first-class city we have in the state of Indiana. It's a whole weird thing. We'll have to talk about that someday. Anyways, so Anderson doesn't have to pay the bills. So they technically don't have to meet, but it's really strange because the code says like all sorts of different things. I don't have a problem with it if they're doing the will of the people. The problem with this is Anderson is specifically trying to cut out as much citizen interaction as possible. So that's a strike. They are already screwing with public comments. That's a major strike. And like you said, there's no problem with saying, hey, we've got no business, but we'll come up here and sit for 2 hours and let you all talk to us. Never in a million years would that happen.
I want to remind everybody, hey, you elected officials out there.
Yeah.
We voted you. Okay. Some of us voted for some of you. Some of us didn't vote for any of you.
Yeah.
And Russ pushed through ballots on the ones that he wanted through. So with that being said, you have to remember that at the end of the day, you have people to answer to, your bosses, the people who are paying the taxes. I mean, here's the honest truth. I don't feel any elected officials should be able to be in any seat if their taxes are not paid up to date, period. So we need to get, some understanding. And if I was elected, I would be certainly writing that in as a law that says if you're an elected official who doesn't pay your property taxes and you are delinquent, you are not allowed to serve, and you will immediately forgive your seat and it will go up for caucus. There's no excuse for it. You either right example or you step down. And if you can't do the right thing, then we'll have you removed, because we have to put laws in position to teach people how to do the right thing.
I don't know that I like that.
Well, I do.
I get what you're saying, but
we have so many elected officials who are delinquent on their property tax.
Taxation is theft. And I specifically don't like property taxes.
Well, it's a tricky thing, but I'm not going to have elected officials that are making money off of the people who are paying the taxes. I don't disagree.
You're going to have lots of them. Specifically, you have lots of them like that.
Yes, and that's my problem with them. So, because they love technicalities over here. But my phone has blown up, and it's been crazy. I'm excited to see all these people on here. Les is on here. I know maybe some of you've gone through withdrawal because I haven't been on here in about 10 days. But the biggest question I got tonight was, where are you even going to start? Listen, that meeting was 3 hours long yesterday. And
was it? It didn't seem that long.
Because every bit of it was like eye-opening, things that we have talked about for years. And I will tell you, for the first time in 5 years, this council did a good job.
Yeah,
I'm going to give credit where credit is due.
Yes,
they did a good job last night.
Yes.
They finally found their voice.
Yes,
they finally exercised their voice. Bethany wasn't belittled. She wasn't gavelled. I wasn't gavelled. It was an interesting. When we first started the meeting, it was very interesting to me because I don't think, how Ben Gale would always get up there in front of us and give us this lecture like we were toddlers.
Yeah, he'd start the meeting off. He started the meeting off with this us versus them mentality, which already is pissing everybody off before you've even started. It's already got everybody to where, when I would hear Ben Gale do that, I couldn't start at just a 0 spot. He already had me amped up to like a 5 or 6.
Right.
And the meeting hadn't even started.
Right. But then I saw a new twist last night. Now, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I this is how I felt. This is Catherine's point of view. For the first time, I have actually seen somebody use prayer as kind of a lecture to the people. And so as I'm listening to Scott Green begin to sound like Ben Gale through prayer, I thought, this meeting's going to be off the chain. But I'm certainly glad he said what he did during prayer, because I'm going to remind him for the next 44 months what he said in that prayer. Do not use God's word or God's way and then think you're not going to be held accountable to those words.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting prayer last night. I will tell you that. We'll see how this works. It's kind of like when Jennifer Culp got up and had prayer at the city council meeting and said, let's respect one another. Let's be kind to one another. And then just a short, 30 or 40 minutes later, she has an out-of-body experience and she's yelling at a constituent. And you're not even sure if that's still Jennifer Culp in her body.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting adventure here. But for the most part, Green did a great job. I also want to point out, as I watch all of this, when Dr. Abbott was the coroner, Russ Willis, all of them, Gardner, all those guys, none of them wanted to address him by his title because they said, titles aren't used in elections or elected officials. Well, we argued that point that judges, you say judge, those kind of things. So it was interesting, and it's been interesting to see the documents come up. They all say Dr. Green on them. When they address him, they say Dr. Green, but yet they wouldn't do any of that for Dr. Abbott. So, that's kind of pathetic to see. To me, I'm just Katherine. I mean, I have a doctorate, and they've told me oftentimes that it's not a doctorate.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's very weird.
It's
very
weird.
Strange that they do that, and
Right.
obviously we know why they're doing that. They're going to do that to prop up the people they like and to tear down and belittle the people they don't.
Yeah, and that's okay. Listen, no one can take my degrees from me, so I'm not worried. You be you, I'll be me.
I do want to say you are absolutely right, and I think there are a lot of people that are watching. They're like, "Wait, what?" Because I have to say, so Diana Likens was very Diana Likens-like. I mean, she was pretty much who she was. Rob Steele was who he is. I don't think there was much change with those two people. But I want to start this place out this evening out by saying I think that Green did a good job. I think that Jacob Culp did an okay. Is that his name, Jacob?
That's Jonathan.
Jonathan. I get him confused. The boy Culp. Boy Culp did a good job. Obviously Bethany did a good job, and the Bethany 2.0 did a good job. What's her name?
That is Christy
Grabowski. So Keller and Grabowski did a good job. I think Jody Nork did a pretty good job. And so as a whole, I give last night's Madison County Council really about a B. I mean, I think that they did good. Now, there's lots of wild stuff that happened last night, and there's a lot of wild stuff that we're going to get into, and things that are like crazy and whatnot. And I mean, listen, as a non-Madison County meeting, I was like going, what? More times last night than I have at even some of our local meetings. It was really crazy what was going on. It was really, really crazy.
Listen, I just have to say that for all you people who stayed on there with me for 3 hours, there was a glitch there towards the end. I ran out of battery.
Yeah, that happens.
So we were scrambling. I mean, it was a 3-hour meeting, right? And I kept thinking, okay, they're going to quit. They're going to quit. They're going to quit. And I probably should have hooked up sooner. But we got us saved and we got us back on there. But it was a little crazy on all of that. So I'd like to share a few posts at the beginning because I know people will go to bed and things will go away. Is there any way you can pull up my Facebook page? Because when I do,
David,
people are messaging me.
Is there any way I can what?
Can you pull up my Facebook page?
Specifically your Facebook page?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know what, David? You stalk me on Facebook. You learn from me. I teach you the of politics. So I just want to cover a few things in Madison County. I know that we have some of the leadership team is watching.
While I'm pulling this up, I think real quick, while we're pulling this up, I do have to say one more thing here, just briefly, as a holy shit, something crazy happened in Madison County. I issued a records request yesterday.
Yeah, that's part of this Facebook.
I'm not going to say anything of what it is. I'm just going to say, and we'll get to this, but I do want to say I issued a records request yesterday to the clerk's office. And then I was talking to Katherine last night, and it dawned on me how stupid I was. And so last night at like 2:00 in the morning, I issued the same record request to the Madison County auditor, Todd Culp. So listen to what I'm saying. I issued a record request to Todd Culp today, and Todd Culp responded to me and fulfilled the record request today.
See,
in less than a 12-hour window.
It can be done.
Yeah. I was shocked. I requested this request via email last night at like 2:00 in the morning, and by 9:30 I had my at least the biggest part of the record. I was totally blown away.
So for those of you who don't follow me on here, this is my page. I want you to know a couple things. The Russ Willis is unwilling to give up his Republican page, so the new leadership has started their own page, just so everybody knows. So
wait,
please.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
He won't let Kelly Hewer have the page?
No. That might be the fact that they've removed him from the election board and they've put Michelle Daniels in there, but Michelle Daniels is
what?
Yeah.
What? Dude,
that's why I want to do some of this.
Wait. That's big ass breaking news.
I know. Listen, if you follow my Facebook page, we would go through this. Get my page up there.
Wait. When did that happen?
Yesterday. Let's systematically go through it. It was in the paper. Let's go through the Facebook page.
Okay.
So lots going on. That's why I want to cover as much as I can today, because I've been very busy on Facebook.
Rock and roll through it. All right. Tell me where I need to go.
So right here.
If
we bring this one up, I just wonder. This is the Daniels replaces Willis on the county election board. Now, I'm going to tell you something. A crystal ball tells me that Daniels probably won't be up there when they hear my Ben Gale complaint, but one doesn't know. So it looks like Kelly Hewer will continue with the same recycled cartel of Republicans. Michelle Daniels was very helpful.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
I'm going to introduce you to this article. Let me read this.
I know, but you can't come out swinging. She replaced Russ. That's a big deal.
Listen, I know you don't know Michelle Daniels.
I know. But who would you rather have? So I get it, but you would rather have Russ?
No, I would rather have a non-recycled Republican.
All right. I know. Me too.
I would prefer.
Me too. And I get that same stuff in Madison and Delaware County and everywhere else. But if you're talking about having the most hated person, I would say, okay, this is not good, but
Daniels
it's better than Russ.
Just as bad as Russ.
All right, go on. I'll fight you on this, but go on.
Michelle Daniels was very helpful when we ran for coroner. However, it didn't take long before the screaming and demanding came. You owe me. She will tell you, you have to play the game and kiss the ring to make it in this cartel. I refuse to contribute to corruption. So we all know how that played out. Michelle Daniels is no different than Russ Willis. She will slate her own Republicans in the primary, ignoring anyone who is not in their camp. She was a strong supporter of Jerry Alexander, Ben Gale, Rick Gardner, Todd Culp, the Likens, John Richwine, Anthony Emery, and more, while refusing to put out signs or help other fellow Republicans up in Elwood, even to the point where she was removing people's signs that she didn't like. Ask any of the Republicans who represent we the people, and they will tell you about the fight for sign placement and her hateful behavior if you go against the cartel. This lifetime Republican didn't run for PC in her area, but wait for it. She was appointed in another area to secure Kelly Hewer a vote when she realized Pipe Creek 3 had a candidate. Cross Michelle Daniels and you will get the wrath from hell. Kelly Hewer is well on her way to keep the cartel in place. Please note, Michelle Daniels does not use social media or text. She is smarter than that. She doesn't want any incriminating documentation. She does use her friends and families to take sneak peeks at Facebook, so feel free to call and read it to her. Michelle is extremely proficient at working things behind the scenes for the cartel. I have been on the receiving end of it many of times. And I will tell you, while Michelle Daniels did a lot for us when we ran for coroner, when we wouldn't stand down to this cartel, she quietly, behind our backs, went and started a petition asking people to sign it to have us removed in the coroner seat. She even went as far to come to council meetings and stand outside the council building, chasing down elected officials, asking them to sign this petition. She is no different. And here's the thing. here's the crystal ball in Madison County. What Kelly Hewer is going to do is she is going to try to align her whole field and team with women. I have a strange feeling that's where she's headed with all this.
Yeah, sure.
And here's the thing. I'm not let's all be women. I'm about let's get the right person in the right job.
Right.
Okay. Daniels is not going to be able to be neutral. Okay. And that's a problem. When you have people in there who are voting based on what the cartel thinks and feels, this is why we have corrupt government. This is a problem. So is one better than the other? We're just trading skirts. Listen, the spots on the leopard are not changing. These guys are all bred together.
Skirts for jerks.
Michelle Daniels comes from Marion County. Her godfather was Rex Early. I don't know if anybody remembers this name.
Yep.
Okay, so she's been bred in the Republican Party for many years.
Yep.
You know, and here's the thing I tell all of you. When you look at when you think and you look at all this stuff today, as I was going into work, I thought to myself, if you're a Republican and you've talked with Michelle Daniels, if you're on the leadership team and she talks crazy about Katherine Callahan, I want you to know something. At one time, this is how she felt about Katherine Callahan. Can you pull up that picture that I just sent to you in Messenger? This was shortly after, I think it was, this was actually, this was after the primary, when we won the primary for Madison County. But look at this picture that I sent up. This is a handwritten note, right? And what this says on here is,
Dear Catherine and Troy,
my flower basket
is beautiful. It was a nice surprise, unnecessary but nice. Hang in there. It'll set better.
It'll get better.
It'll get better. As
Rex Early.
Oh, Rex Early. Oh, yeah. Former Republican chairman used to say, Lake and Madison County are crazy. Thanks again, Michelle.
So here's the thing. I don't need to say much more, but if you're a Republican watching this, she has a lot of words to say about me. Well, this is the card that she at one time felt about me. So don't kiss the ring, and you're going to be on the other side of that wrath.
You're this cat, and she was this dog.
So now let's go on to the next thing. That's Michelle. Oh, if you want to read the article, you can.
Let's see here. Yeah, let's pull this up. Let's read this here real quick, just for a second. It says, Anderson, there has been a change in the makeup of the Madison County Election Board. Kelly Hewer, the new elected chairperson of the Madison County Republican Party, has removed former chairman Russ Willis from the board. Willis had served as chairman for 12 years. Hewer announced Monday that she has named Michelle Daniels as interim Republican Party board member. Since being named chairperson, Hewer has said she is committed to building a stronger, more unified Republican Party, according to a press release. I'm excited to appoint Michelle Daniels to this position. Hewer said she is a lifelong Republican and dedicated community member. She will be instrumental in bringing a collaborative spirit and a strong commitment to fairness, respect, and transparency, she added. Hewer said Daniels will serve on the election board until a long-term appointment is made. Daniels joins Madison County Clerk Linda Smith and Democrat Tim Linnane on the board. So, number one, this is just an interim placement, and a long-term placement might be coming. And I get everything that you're saying. I understand that.
Let me tell you the crystal ball.
I get it. I'm just saying.
Okay. And let me tell you the crystal ball, everybody. So most likely this will not be the 3-team member that hears the case about Ben Gale. Who do you think?
Why you say this?
Oh, because I know.
Okay.
Who do you think they will bring back when Laureen and I team up about the Ben Gale situation.
This will tell a lot. If
exactly, they will bring probably Russ.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we're going to find out.
Do you have a date?
No, I have no date.
Okay.
Right? So I have no date, but I'm telling you right now, this is going to be interesting. Now, scroll down just one more post before this one. So go down. Don't go back up to the top. Go down.
I gotta minimize this down here real quick. To an actual Facebook post.
Yeah. Go down to the Facebook post. So there's a new. Okay. So right here, what I want to show you right here. This is the new page that's come out by Kelly Stewart. Okay. And this is what it's called. So if you want to join
Madison County Republican Party,
this is what Kelly's going to. This is the page they're running. Nick Freeman and those guys are all running this page right here. So if you want to join that, you should be able to follow it. I don't know that we can post or people can post. Of course, they're going to control who can post or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just want to show you guys.
But you can comment. Comments are open. Posting is not, but comments are.
Yeah, so they'll have to leave comments open for everybody. We'll see if they decide to shut people down, if they'll start the same behavior as what's been in the past. Will they pick and choose, or will they allow every candidate to post their information? It'll be interesting.
Listen,
they did put a notice of a caucus up there.
Look. Yesterday at 9:20 a.m., notice of caucus. Madison County Republican Party hereby announces a vacancy in the following elected position: Pendleton Town Council District 1. A caucus of the necessary precinct committeemen will be held on Friday, March 21st, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. at the Pendleton Town Hall. Interested persons must be a resident of the Council District 1, must be a qualified Republican elector, and must be in good standing. That's not true. You don't have to be in good standing with the party. You could be a Republican that has voted twice with a Republican and have said, and they can put you in. Now they might not vote on you, but you can still run. Candidates must also deliver a completed Indiana Form CEB5 and a CAN 12 by Tuesday, March 18th, my mother's birthday, at 4:30 p.m. to P.O. Box 765, Anderson, Indiana. Or contact Chairwoman Hewer by phone at 317-840-4394 to coordinate submission of paperwork. And then there's links there. I do have to say, John Ackerman says letting this be known is a welcome change. That probably would not have happened under Russ Willis. So I'm just saying, I feel everything about Kelly Hewer and all this that you do. I'm just saying, when the good things happen, you got to still tick those off. So that is a good thing. And
this is the good
thing. Removing Russ is a good thing.
Right? This is why we balance each other.
Mm-hmm.
So go back to my Facebook page because I want to show you a couple other things. Because the meeting's going to consume the rest of the...
Yeah.
So go back to where... Okay, so here we are with all of that. It has to do... Okay, so now I want you to go up I want you to go up a little bit. Keep going. Go past that. Go past that. Keep going. Right here. I want to blow this up. For those of you that are in the Republican leadership who are watching, it would be very nice if you did it a little more like this. I did post the notice of the caucus, okay? But this is a district seat. People don't know what district they are. So that's why I tried to post a map of what that area consists of to the best of my ability. This was not easy to find. I had to call my good friend Sean, who helped me with this. He said, this is very difficult to get done. So if you are watching from Pendleton or you know somebody in that area, here it is. I just want everybody to know that's kind of what we think District 1 is. So this is what I'm asking of the new Republican leadership. Attention Pendleton District 1 voters. There appears to be an opening and a caucus will be held. I do not have access to all the privileges the Republican leadership has. I believe this is the map for the area. I appreciate Nick Freeman posting this. However, for transparency, it would be helpful for the people if maps of the area were posted and which PCs will be responsible for the voting in that area. Please let me know if I can assist with paperwork or a notary. There is a deadline of March 18th at 4:30. So if it's a notary that's holding you up, let me know. If you have questions on what to do with the paperwork, let me know. If there's anything that I can do, let me know. Again, I encourage you to go to Nick and the people, Rick Gardner, all those people who were elected in this position. I encourage you to record the information. I encourage you to do whatever you want. But if you cannot get where you need to go, please come ask me and I'll be happy to help you. But this area is over by Falls Park, just so everybody kind of gets an idea. So I kind of wanted to let you know about that as well, on what to do with that. And it is a much appreciated change that we're seeing in the caucus. So that's kind of the story with that. And then if you want to talk about the next thing, we can go on to that.
Real quickly, just so everyone knows, at least here in the state of Indiana, maybe not everyone has this, so you'll have to look, but Delaware County does, Madison County does. You will have to go and you'll look. If you go to your county, if you go to like Delaware County, if you go to Google and you type in Delaware County, Indiana GIS, or Madison County, Indiana GIS, you can go in and then pick up these. They have these precinct maps. There's 112 of them here. You see 112 precincts in Madison County. They're all here on GIS. And you can see that. You can also go to the GIS map, and it will tell you. Where your commissioner, county council districts are, your Anderson City Council districts, and your. It should tell you the outlying town places too, like Pendleton or Lapel, yada, yada, yada. And so what you do is you click on the map there, which you can see here. And when you click on that, if you come over here, it will allow you to open up your layer list, and it will allow you to see, well, it's freezing up on me here, but it will allow you to pick, see right where it says like, it's got all the little different towns and counties, and it tells you what you can do. And you can go in here, it says tax parcel, county zoning, and right here it says election administration. If you click on that and then you click all these other things off, it will allow you to see this. And you see right down here in this red area, this is Pendleton 1. And so everywhere...
What we showed is pretty good.
What you showed is perfect. Yeah,
we need to get a screenshot, and this gives a better detail. I appreciate Sean for helping me with this.
Yeah.
You know, and so this is the thing. Now, Puppy Branch is asking who votes for this person. Well, it's going to be localized to that area.
Now, with it being a district, I guess they could do it one of two ways. In my opinion, it should be just the precinct committee people that would make up the precinct in this area. Now that might only be one person. I don't know. It depends on how this is divided up, but it could be as few as 1 or 2 or 3 people, and it would be just the precinct committee people from that. It's not county-wide. Right. It would be just the precinct committee people from that area. It might be all the precinct committee people of Pendleton. They might do it that way. But like, for example, if this was the city of Muncie and there was a caucus for city of Muncie District 4 or Delaware County or Madison County District 2 County Council or Anderson District 3, they would find all of the precinct people that make up that district, and they would have them vote. They wouldn't have the whole city or the whole county do it. So it could be very little, like it could be 1 or 2.
And that's the point with the new leadership should be showing this transparency. The names should be out there.
Yeah.
The community should be able to talk to their PCs about who they're getting ready to vote on. It should be, because the elected officials represent us. PCs are there to represent us. So I hope this was a teaching point tonight for some people, but I am always available if somebody has questions or concerns about this. So I've shared that. What's really hard is that most people don't know about this new page. This is a really fast turnaround on a caucus. So I have shared it to many Pendleton pages. I encourage people to share it as much as possible so people can see it. So that's the thing. I sent you a picture in Messenger that was posted last night out front of the room. I found this a very interesting. People, you need to understand, election board meetings, they only have to notify the paper. They don't have to, the paper doesn't have to notify us.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I read the paper diligently every day when it's published. And so they don't put in when the election board, and we've seen them call private election board meetings where there's not a soul in the meeting and they're running them. This is the deceitfulness of Linda Smith, the clerk. This should be a public announcement for anybody who wants to be involved with the election board meetings, but that's not how they do it in Madison County. So,
what are we talking about?
So I sent you a picture in Messenger.
Okay.
And this was outside of the council room as I was entering yesterday. I had no idea there was an election board hearing this morning. Only to come find out it's been canceled.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing with all of this is I didn't even know there was an election board hearing coming up or there was going to have one. They only have to let you know 48 hours before. They only have to publish it outside their door. They do not have to let the community know. I would like to encourage many of you who are watching this right now to message Heather Bailey, call Heather Bailey, get her email, and ask her on a formal email that in the future, any election board meetings that are going to take place, you would like to be notified about. And let's see how transparent these are. Same with Linda Smith. Copy them both on the email. This is a problem, Madison County. If we let the election board meet and do anything they want, this is how they will behave. The election board has done nothing to hold their elected officials accountable. But they have shown us that they can move very quickly on anybody they dislike, anybody they want to discredit. And that's a problem. And so it will be interesting to see all the different little webs they're going to try to weave. I have zero encouragement that anything's going to change. I think things are only going to get worse on the election board from this point moving forward. And this is what I just can't even believe things have gotten as crazy as they have gotten.
Really quickly, I'm going to put this up here. So I've got both of the
email addresses.
So County Clerk Linda Smith is here. So I'm going to put this up here really quickly. Hey, yeah, thank you, Les. County Clerk Linda Smith is just Smith at Madison County, all one word, .in.gov. It's very easy. Smith at madisoncounty.in.gov, right here. County Clerk, okay. And then the other one, Deputy Clerk Heather Bailey, is just basically the same thing. It's Deputy Clerk Heather Bailey is H. Bailey at madisoncounty.in.gov. Both of those are very easy. So Linda Smith, Smith at madisoncounty.in.gov, and H. Bailey at madisoncounty.in.gov. There's that if you want to.
And remember, I turned
Yes,
in this complaint on Ben Gale a couple of months ago, and I asked him, this should be done expeditiously.
Yeah.
Well, they never did the one with Russ Willis expeditiously, and their excuse was, well, we're in the middle of an election, and we have this election, and it just kept going on. Well, now we'll have the same thing. Well, we were doing the reorganization. This is the thing. Heather Bailey and Linda Smith do not work for the people. Please understand that. They work for the cartel.
Not many elected officials do.
They work for the cartel. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's be all clear on that. So I'm sure it will be a short notice that they give me, thinking that, I've got patience and it's just very inconsiderate, but does not surprise me of Linda Smith and Heather Bailey. Heather likes to say she's just clueless in America, but at some point the honeymoon's over. You either know how to do your job or you don't know how to do your job. I don't know what
right. I mean, yes.
You've been in there long enough. You should know by now.
It's not that difficult.
Might be running on 2 years now.
It shouldn't be that difficult.
So, this now leads me back to my Facebook page, and drum roll, people. This leads us into the meeting.
Okay. Yeah. So where are we
going? It's very exciting. So, as some of you have been following along on my Facebook posts, I had realized, thank you, David Sargent, who does a lot of I think it's down just a little bit, who does a lot of the recording for the commissioners. It's right there. Stop. Go back up. It's right there. There was a meeting by the commissioners, and they came up with a special ordinance. This special ordinance, and as you can see, it's number 2 in the county. This special ordinance was done by the commissioners. Can the commissioners do such things? Yes, they can. And if the people allow it, they can even do it more. So they came up with this special. Huh?
What do you mean? What are you saying? Special ordinance?
Can commissioners make ordinances?
Yes, that's their job.
Can they make the special ordinance to serve themselves? Unfortunately, yes. We should never allow this.
I mean, I don't know that this is a special ordinance. This is just a regular ordinance. This is an ordinance like any other ordinance.
$5 million of a special ordinance.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but this is no different than anything else they would do. They're all, I would say, I mean, I get what you're saying. They didn't do anything outside of the norm. The Madison County commissioners are always self-serving. Everything they do is self-serving, but they didn't do anything out of the norm. This is just a regular ordinance like any other they would pass. This just happens to be all about them and giving them money. I mean, one of the craziest things is it doesn't even mention an amount.
Right. You have to be listening along in the meetings to know how much money we're talking about here, which most of you know, I listen along. So can we say that Madison County commissioners are a little sketchy?
Yeah.
Let's see. They made this ordinance on the fly.
Yeah.
Why? So they can have the $5.5 million of interest made off of the $24.9 million of ARPA funds. The ARPA funds that are supposed to go to the taxpayers who were affected by hardships from COVID. Stay tuned, Madison County. There is more to come. Now, during a pandemic, only 3 counties out of 92 raised taxes. Madison County was one of those 3 counties, and they didn't stop. Every year, they have come back and found another tax place and another tax place and another tax place to increase, until we finally pushed back enough last year where the council could not get enough support from the municipalities to raise taxes again. People are fed up with the lying in Madison County, not just us, but even the municipalities are fed up with it. So we're going to see more and more be exposed. And here's the thing. I watch Facebook. I hear people say we need the DOGE in Madison County. Well, you know what? It's here. It's you, the people.
Yeah.
It is you, the people. It shouldn't be Elon Musk. It's you, the people, who should be awake and paying attention. That's who it should be. Catherine's been awake for 5 years saying, what are you doing? What are you doing with this money? This ARPA money? I'm telling you what, Madison County, you mark my words. They are going to have to pay some of that ARPA money back because they've done a shell game. They haven't got really the projects they're supposed to, but they've moved it to different bank accounts looking like it's been spent. I'm telling you, this county's going to get audited at some point, and they're going to be paying back that money.
So amazing.
And then you're going to really see and feel the pain, because Rick Gardner has run with, I've increased our general fund. I've made us this much. Look at that general fund.
Yeah.
We got $24.9 million. He hasn't spent any of it. Of course, he looks like he's made us a lot of money. Here's the thing. If we truly have that much money, do you know that if none of us taxpayers paid our taxes for the next 2 years, this county would have enough money? Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. The power is in the people. You know, the most dangerous people are educated and informed people.
Yeah.
That show up at meetings. Those are the dangerous ones. That's why they want you silenced. Listen, these people are going to go to extremes, I'm being told, for me. They are hunting me. They want me silenced. Well, here's the thing. Too many of you know now. The only thing that's going to happen with that are people are going to push back and show up and say, okay, well, I guess you're going to have to silence 100 of us.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all coming down to. So as we go into this meeting, I am tickled pink over the word no last night.
Oh yeah, dude. Real quick, before we go into this, because the thing we put up, people probably couldn't see it. Let's read this just so people can hear it.
Sure.
So this ordinance is Commissioner's Ordinance number 2025/BC, which means Board of Commissioners /0/02, and it is an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of Madison County, Indiana, creating a non-reverting capital asset and improvement fund. Whereas the Madison County Board of Commissioners, hereinafter commissioners, serves as the executive of the county's government, and whereas the commissioners have determined that it is desirable to create the following new fund, Fund 4976, Capital Asset and Improvement Fund, which will be utilized for any funds provided to the Madison County Commissioners and which will be utilized specifically by the Madison County Commissioners for capital assets and improvements as prescribed by state law. Now, therefore, be it ordained that thereby it is created the following funds. Fund 4976, Capital Asset Improvements, into which monies received by Madison County through the budget and levy process by the Madison County Council shall be deposited, and the investment income as directed by the Board of Finance policy. Monies in Fund 4976 shall remain in said funds until expended and shall not revert to the general fund at the end of the Madison County's fiscal year. This ordinance shall be in full effect from and after its date of adoption, adopted this 21st day of January 2025, signed Richwine, Pratt, and Gardner.
Now, I want everybody to understand, okay? Why are we maxing the taxes in Madison County when you're bringing in $5.5 million in interest fees? Now they say, well, this is just a one-time thing because, we have to spend this money. Well, let me tell you something. They didn't spend the money. The money's sitting in different pots, so we're still accruing interest. Okay. But if you don't stand up there and say, where's this interest money going? I say it all the time to them. I'm like, can somebody tell me where the interest money is going? No one would tell me. Well, now you know. This county has accrued $5.5 million in interest. And why? Because the former auditor, Rick Gardner, knew he was going for commissioner. He needed play money. He needed seed money. Now, I can't tell you, but if I was anybody sitting in that audience, when you tell me that you have to have a capital improvements project to fix the clock on the courthouse, when everybody's walking around with analog phones and you can just pull it out of your pocket and see what time it is, people aren't looking up at the sky anymore. They're looking down at the ground on their phones. So what do we care? Why don't you put a picture up there? Put a stained glass window. I don't care, but I don't want to hear anything more about the clock. It hasn't worked in years. This isn't Back to the Future, okay? Let's move forward. So this is the thing. This maxed the tax in Madison County. I told all of you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to be Culp's mission. You've got to show up at these meetings and say no more.
Yeah. Hey, especially if the council's going to be kind of on your side.
And last night, they were on the taxpayers' side over and over and over. And I was very impressed with that. I was even impressed with the county attorney who said, you know, I got this document late from the commissioners too.
Yeah.
And you guys might be best to hold this and table this and come back to this. What was most alarming during that moment with Rick Gardner is Jody Norick says, well, you've got $295,000 in that line item for capital improvements. And he's saying it can't sustain him for 30 days. That he can't get a quote from anybody because he doesn't have enough money. Now, let me explain something to you, Chris. This is what blows my mind. Okay. You're a car dealer. I come in and I say, you know, I only have $295,000 for me to budget for a car. And you go, oh, okay. Let me show you this beautiful car for $294,000.99. Okay. At the end of the day, people, I don't think the commissioners should be given a dime unless they are bringing bids in front of the council. They are showing 3 of those bids, and then they go, okay, now we'll see if you can have the money. Because it sounds to me as what they're doing is they're going to their friends and families who have businesses and saying, listen, I need a bid for $294,000 because I only have $295,000.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. We should be irate over this. Then Rick Gardner goes on to say, I can't get bids if I don't have any money. Who's going to give bids to a county that doesn't have any money? Hey, Rick, the county's got a lot of money in the general fund. If these are contractors, they should know the general fund has a lot of money. So they should be willing to give you all kinds of bids all day long. The fact that the county would even tolerate him saying that, they need to be appalled. They need to be insulted because that's all he was last night at that podium. None of it made sense. But I want you to know something, taxpayers. You are the ones who ultimately need to be appalled. We have sat in that auditorium for 2 years now. Once, we sat there till 1 a.m. in the morning, slashing the budget. The second time, we were there well into 10 or 11 o'clock at night, slashing the budget. Last year, we slashed $1.9 million. But within the first quarter, we've given out more than $1.9 million. This is a problem. So if we've given it out now and we continue to do that, that means by the end of the year, let's just say we're at $2 million. We've already given out $8 million extra dollars that they were supposed to slash the budget. This is not how you do a budget. It's not how you run a business. You have to run these departments like a business. There has to be accountability. You know, that's just the way it has to be. And I want you to know it is illegal. It is a violation. It is a Class B misdemeanor for them to spend money without appropriation. You heard it last night. You heard departments coming in that had bills that they did not have money appropriated for. It is illegal. And I know because I was sent the letter from the attorney saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I know that Cheryl brought that up. Did you bring it up to him? They were told they should know. I mean, I know that
Cheryl brought it up.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm tired of going to the podium. I need other people to come in there.
Yeah.
Other people need to say these things and show them we are listening. And we are tired and we are exhausted from working just to pay taxes. So let's show the meeting on some of these things because it's been off the chain. We didn't want to start with, there's some reels I put in Messenger.
I was, okay.
You know, most of the county, they only budget for around 80% of the receipts coming in. So they collect 92% and then put 12% in the rainy day fund. So they're skimming off the top in the first place.
Yeah, let's start with this thing from from Alexandria, and after we watch this reel, then I'll back it up in the meeting, because I was just watching this before we were going live. Is this what you were talking about?
This reel?
This?
There's reels in
Is this
Facebook.
what you were talking about?
You want it?
Is this what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is like 44 minutes. That's not a reel.
Oh, well, okay. She made a short video, but you can fast forward. This one's
No,
just
that's fine. This is what I wanted. That's good.
Jessica Baston, the county engineer. Before we get into the meat of this resolution, I'd like to give you a little bit of background. This has been a 3-year in the making project, at least from my involvement. I know others have worked on it prior to me being here at the county. Excuse me. And I know we have some new members, so I want to make sure that you have all the information you need as we go into this discussion. In early 2022, the commissioners asked me to think about how we should look at using our ARPA funds. And one of the ways that came through those discussions was to look at master planning for infrastructure across our county. And so, as you probably know, we initiated 5 master plans countywide to look at different areas of infrastructure. And one of those was, 2 of those, I guess, was to look at water and wastewater. Water and wastewater service in Madison County is provided in our municipalities, but in the rural areas, they're provided typically by on-site systems, so private systems that are owned and managed by the homeowners. When many of these systems were installed, the regulations were different. The knowledge of the systems was different than what we know now. And so the technology's changed over the years, the regulations have changed, and so systems that are in place now, particularly in our rural communities, the subdivisions are not up to the same standards that we would require today, which makes it extremely difficult when these systems get to the end of their useful life. So you would have a system where, or a neighborhood where you have properties that are quarter-acre lots or smaller even, and they have septic systems on, or at least what passed as a septic system when the house was constructed. And when that gets to a point where it's no longer functioning properly, they are trying to determine what their options are, because the lots simply aren't big enough to build a current standard septic system in that place. So they run into situations in a number of places, and this isn't unique to Madison County. It's very much a problem in Indiana and in the Midwest, just as our infrastructure ages. It just is part of our aging infrastructure situation. So we have been working on a master plan and a needs assessment to look at the county to identify where these neighborhoods are, where these pocket areas are. And just to be clear, what we're not as concerned about homes that are on 2, 3, 4, 5 acres and more, because they have room to rebuild their septic systems. These are the lots that are a quarter acre or a half acre that just don't have the space to build a new septic system. While all of this was happening, concurrently, we had a situation come up in Monroe Township near Alexandria. And this is a neighborhood where our health department had interacted with residents who were having troubles with their septic systems. And they just didn't have, many of them didn't have enough space to rebuild what they needed. The state got involved in this situation and identified raw sewage in the unnamed tributary adjacent to this neighborhood. This is an area outside of the Alexandria city limits, so it's an unincorporated neighborhood. The receiving stream is not a regulated stream per se, but it is part of our MS4 network, so the overall stormwater conveyance system for the county. And because of that, that then falls under county jurisdiction by default, because there's not another entity who takes that over. So IDEM reached out to the county and basically is holding the county accountable to assist this neighborhood in resolving the situation. And that's part of the process then that has been happening in parallel. Can
you go to the 9-minute mark? 9 minutes, 45 seconds.
As we go through the process to identify how to help meet the objective. So it's not a quick process, and that's intentional to be able to ensure that there is a number of opportunities for public engagement for elected officials, and collaboration with the state and with other pertinent entities. So, but concurrently to that process happening, we will be moving forward on addressing the situation with the intent of then turning that over to the district once it is formed and in service. So I know I threw a lot of information at you, and I'm more than happy to answer questions at this time.
How many households would be affected by the regional utility district?
At this time, we don't have that number.
You don't have a number for how many
How do you
households are in the unincorporated Monroe Township?
I do not have that number.
This is nuts.
As I said, we will have that number at some point because that number needs to we'll have letters sent out, but I do not have that number with me.
Do you have a freeholder list that you're going to include with your petition to item?
We absolutely will. I do not have that with me tonight.
So you can't tell us exactly who this is going to affect. Just
Members of Monroe Township who live outside of the incorporated area are included in the district boundaries. That does not mean they will be directly affected. They are included within the district boundaries. Keep in mind, this is the very first step towards officially forming the district. Maybe I should say, again, I think I said this already, but it's roughly a year from the date that the petition is submitted to IDA. So what would then happen is there'll be a number of meetings, notices published in the newspaper, notices mailed to residents, public service announcements on radios. There'll be a public meeting where residents and anyone who's even not in the district boundaries are invited to give feedback on that. And then the commissioners would receive that feedback and if needed, update the petition. And then once the petition is submitted to IDA, there's a 180-day comment period. During that time, anyone can make comments for, against, in support, neutral, whatever the position may be, to IDEM about this district and about the process and so forth. And then at the end of that period, IDEM will make a determination as to whether to issue an order forming the district or not. At this time, in most utility district formations, details are not worked out. And that's because this is establishing the managerial structure.
so when you create the regional utility district and there are the 5 board members appointed, what kind of powers do those 5 board members have?
They essentially
Bethany
become
asking
the
questions.
governing body for the utility once the utility is up and running. They will go through the process with IDEM's guidance as to establishing rules, regulations, and the policies and procedures and so forth for the district.
Would they have eminent domain powers?
I would assume they do, yes.
And if a sewer line was run in front of your house, would you have a choice of whether you wanted to hook up to that sewer or not?
The way state law is written is that if you're within 300 feet of a sewer line that is added, and I believe it's doorway to the sewer line. That's changed over the years, but I think that is what it is now. That the utility has the ability to establish policy as to whether or not they're forced to connect. I've worked with a number of utilities over the years. Some of them do force the connection, some do not. A lot of it depends on what type of system you're putting in. For example, if you have a pumping system and you don't have enough users on the pumping system initially, you will have odor issues because the waste will not be pumped out of the lift station in a timely manner. And that is obviously not desirable. The other thing to keep in mind is that these areas, people may not be seeing issues, but if you start to get into situations where you're actually testing the groundwater, testing the water in the streams, you will find evidence of contamination.
So you're asking us to sign a resolution saying we're going to support the creation of a new government entity that has eminent domain powers and can force rural households onto a city sewer if they so choose.
I'm asking for a consideration for the draft of the resolution that's in front of you. And I'm happy to go through any part of it that you would like. The draft basically says that the council supports the formation of the regional utility district.
Here we go.
With the understanding and knowledge that the policies, procedures of the district would come after the formation of the district, as with every other regional utility district that has been formed in the state and in the Midwest. The intent is, again, this is the beginning of the process. This then allows for any questions,
Lenny.
concerns to be identified and considered prior to the petition being submitted. And then that would be by the commissioners. And then once the time clock starts, then IDEM has a public hearing and they will receive feedback. So there's ample opportunity to share concerns on specific things.
In what ways have you collaborated with the Monroe Township trustee on this project?
We have not this time.
Why?
Everything she asks, they haven't,
I don't
not,
have
they
an answer
don't.
on that.
Very happy to hear from you today when I reached out to ask his opinion on
So,
the project. The only thing
Bethany
I feel about it
does,
was the
you
paragraph
can put it, pause here.
last month.
Bethany does an amazing job with this
Yes.
whole thing. What's so sad about all of this? Jessica, according to her LinkedIn profile, is a Rose Holman graduate. Now, I don't know what they do, if there's any Rose Holman people on here, but I can tell you right now, if I ever showed up and did a presentation with as many I don't knows as she did, I probably would have failed my class. Now, I want you to know that most of this council only received the information late on Friday. So they only had Monday to really get things hammered out, and then Tuesday to get things hammered out. And that doesn't give you a lot of time. And then to find out, she hasn't even talked to the township up there in Monroe to find, I mean, they have completely excluded. And you know what's so sad about this is that the health department is in on this.
Yeah.
And in the health department, I mean, Mellinger's been over there in her seat for over like 7 or 8 years. And the fact that she's been with the health department well over 20 years. Well, maybe she's too busy working on her doctorates that she doesn't have time to actually focus on what is needed. I mean, it looks like today she took her entire staff to the State Department, closed down the health department. I mean, if you see how many staff members, and then they win an award for being a model health department that needs to like get better or something. Are you kidding me? Madison County is a train wreck when it comes to the health division. They're like number 85 out of 92 counties. They shouldn't be winning any awards. They should actually be put on notice that if they don't do something the next year, they're out jobs. That's the bottom line. I don't know where you people work, but maybe if we ran these businesses and these departments truly like employment agencies actually do, like employers who say your job performance continues to get worse, you are out. I will tell you this. If I have a consistent batch of patients who I do not have their A1Cs, which is their sugar levels, diabetics, under control within a certain range, do you know that they deduct payment from us? Now, I'm not with my diabetic patients all the time. So I don't understand, if we're getting it from the federal government, why Stephanie Mellinger isn't being removed from her seat, because she's never done anything to really improve the county.
Well,
so that's a whole story within itself. The health department has been involved in this. The sewage is running out. It is contaminating things. It's a huge problem. But you know what I'd really like to know, Kristopher, or anybody who's watching this?
What's that?
What does it take for IDEM to become involved?
Yeah, I've been looking into that since
they're involved.
Yeah.
IDEM is telling this county, we are going to hold you accountable. You are going to fix this. Well, it's had to have been bad for a little bit in order for IDEM to get in there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think IDEM just says, voila, we're here to save the day. Right? So if you have not seen this bit of the Madison County, you need to. I sent you in Messenger what she's asking them to sign. Now, Jessica is asking them to blindly sign a contract when she can't tell you how many constituents this is going to involve. She can't tell you the cost that this is going to involve. She can't tell you. Now, these people live out in the country, so they're not paying sewage at all. but they're going to have to once they hook up to the city stuff. Well, they don't have any idea how much that money's going to cost. And these are already poor neighborhoods. You know, and what's so sad is when you have people like Stephanie Mellinger and Jessica Bastin who don't have to financially worry, then they have no problem putting it off on the taxpayers. These are not the people who should be leading this. Jessica should have come. She's been working on this project for over 3 years. She should know everybody by name out there. But you know what? She lives down south. She's not worried what's going on up in Monroe. She could care less.
Yeah.
Now, on the outside, this looks great. They're going to come in. They think they're going to get some grants. They're going to fix all this. But people, this is Madison County. None of them look at what it's going to take to maintain it. They never look at what it's going to cost the taxpayers in the long run, month by month. And that's what becomes the problem with these ignorant people. And yes, I'm going to use the word ignorant.
Oh, yeah.
Because educated people would never come to the table like this. And thank you, Bethany Keller, for having enough sense. I mean, this was a total match down between Bethany Keller and Jessica Bastin.
Yeah.
That's who came to the table.
I want them to listen to a little bit more of this because there's definitely some back and forth. And you could tell that Jessica at the podium got like mad that she was being questioned. And she like took it personally. And so just listen to a little bit more of this. This is very important. I know it's kind of dry. And I know people are like, but we heard this last night. Well, some people didn't, but I'm going to jump it along here, but I want you to listen to this. I was just listening to this right before we went live. I listened to the whole thing. So this will be my third time through it, but it's maddening what this woman was telling to Bethany. Listen to this.
This is something that the state has come in and said the county has to address. Forming a regional utility district allows the county to do that in a way that could then become a sustainable, independent entity rather than a one-time cost to the county, in a way that would then ensure that as these occur in the future, which it is very likely that this will occur in the future, that can be addressed again in a sustainable and positive way. The other thing to keep in mind is that forming a regional utility district allows this entity to pursue funding through the Indiana Finance Authority State Revolving Loan Fund. Typically, the counties themselves cannot do that unless there is a cost. There will be a cost. It's actually,
even though their current old septic is not actually causing an environmental issue yet, and they can't pay that bill. How would that be handled? Because I know that when I used to work in utility assistance in another county, the way that city would shut off sewer when people didn't pay the bills, they would shut off the water. And I know city water is not part of this project. So would that be like, I don't know, like a lien on their home?
You are getting into policy, which is not something that would have been discussed yet. But one thing that I do want to address that you stated that I want to make sure we
everything
clarify.
That Bethany was bringing up, which is something that the constituents see. This is what people like Jessica here doesn't understand. Bethany is beholden to her constituents. The constituents are matters. All of these officials are, and these officials hopefully are going to be going out and speaking to these constituents, and these constituents are going to have these questions. And when Bethany says, well, I asked the question and nobody knew, the constituents are going to say, we don't want to do this if you can't tell us anything. And so Bethany is in a really, all of them are in a really hard spot here. And so it's completely crazy that she goes before this board, like Katherine said, with very little answers, because here in a minute, she really gets, starts getting shitty that Bethany's questioning her.
And let me be clear. She is the number 2 highest paid person in the county. She falls right under Beeman. She is the highest paid appointed person and employee in the county. Beeman's elected. So she is paying 6 digits coming up here with I don't knows, but sign this blindly in good faith.
Yeah.
The septic systems that are not up to current code in place, it is very different. Just to think about the size of those lots. And with the State Revolving Loan Fund, they have some IDEM has certain parts of the community
Yeah.
to them. It's just not a practical situation. This is focusing on the communities and the areas that's not.
I want to get into
Irregardless of what happens tonight with the resolution, that is something that the county is already moving forward with.
Okay, yeah, it was right after Jody.
In a sustainable manner. The more desirable financial packages available from the Indian.
Held by Commonwealth Engineers. I have not seen that.
And please don't take offense to this. Because you did not have counsel available, we essentially took the commissioner's resolution and just updated it for the council. This can absolutely be edited tonight.
There we
If
go.
you have other parts you would like to strike from this. That's not a problem at all. I also can provide those documents as we move forward to towards the process of moving forward with the actual submission of the petition.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we table this resolution until the next meeting, because it would be irresponsible of us to pass it, whereas it does state that the council has reviewed the preliminary engineering report and petition process detailed by Commonwealth Engineers.
Councilor Keller's made a motion. Is there a second?
I would second.
Councilor Borowski. Is there discussion about tabling them?
Now listen to this.
Does that delaying a month cause any issue?
The longer we delay, the longer until the formation of the district, which then we could put into question the funding packages that are available to us at the given time. But again, as I said, if you have edits to the text of this, that is 100%.
Okay, pause. Bethany says, I want to table this because in the document that we are voting on, it says we have already viewed this and done all of this, and we haven't. I got this a day and a half ago, and I don't feel comfortable saying that I've looked into all this and done this. I've had people calling me. You'll hear that here in a minute. I've had people calling me. I haven't been able to talk to all the people that I want to. I want to table this for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks. Listen, if 4 weeks is going to make or break you, you're already screwed. It's not, there's an issue. So Rob Steele here on the end, he wakes up from his slumber to say, well, is tabling it for 4 weeks going to put us in a bad spot? Which immediately wakens the fear response in Jessica, who says, oh, yeah. If you table this, it's, and doom and gloom and doom. That whole fear thing that we get from all of these people, always about everything, always.
What she began to use was they'll take it by eminent domain.
Yeah.
IDEM will come in here and take over. I mean, she just began to buffalo them, and thank goodness Bethany wasn't squirming. She was calling her bluff, like, nah, we're not doing it.
Yeah. Bethany, this was some good governance from Bethany's seat last night. Keep listening here.
Doable. We can easily modify the text.
4 weeks cause an issue.
It could.
Would 4 weeks cause the issue? Now, was that Steele or was that Jonathan that asked that? Do you know
that one?
Huh?
They talk so softly.
I want to go back and see if I can see his head moving. Let's see if we can see. I want to know what we hear is, will 4 weeks make a difference? I want to see if
I thought it was Rob, but
all right, let's hear.
That is 100% doable. We can easily modify the text.
4 weeks cause an issue.
that's Rob.
Okay, it was Rob.
It could. I can't say for sure, but it could. Yes, but at the same time, the way that the funding works in the state is there's certain deadlines for when you have to have your information submitted. And if you don't get it submitted by those deadlines, you then get bumped to the next year's funding. So what could happen is that if the district does not, the district petition doesn't get started again. This petition is the very first step. This is just saying, we recognize there's a problem. We recognize that.
Now listen. This is really big. Listen to Jessica say, this is the very first step. All we need you to do is just do this now. This is just the very first step. Okay. Well, Bethany's saying, well, if this is the very first step, I don't feel comfortable because we just got this very first step a day and a half ago. And then as soon as Bethany says that, Listen to what Jessica says. Listen.
To make adjustments to this as the petition goes through the 9, 10, 11 months of public comment and review.
Do it now, because we're going to have lots and lots of public input over the next 9 or 10 months. This is just the first step. Listen.
It will be modified. It will be edited. It will be updated through the process based on the feedback that is received. So delaying could very well push it out of the funding cycle that we are aggressively trying to get into. It also could. We also don't know what's going to happen at the federal level.
We could all be dead next week. What? No kidding.
Federal funds that come into the state that are used for these types of projects. The uncertainty that we all know and we are well aware of that is happening right now could make it so that we would miss out on the opportunity to take advantage of the funding that is out there right now, particularly for low-income communities. That being said, the project would still have to happen, but what it means is we would have to have a different venue for funding it, which is probably more along the lines of bonds on the open market, which is, instead of a 2% interest rate, we're looking at double that, triple that. So.
One thing I'd like to point out is that the council didn't receive this resolution until halfway through the day on Friday. And that's not meant to criticize, but just to point out that we had 2.5 business days to gather as much information as we could. And I've been on the phone all day today and half the day yesterday trying to learn as much as I could and try to talk to constituents, but I didn't get to talk to as many people as I'd like. I had to leave a message with the mayor in Alexandria, and I'm not able to talk to his office. So I just really would like some more time to investigate. I know you keep saying this is just the beginning of the process, but this is the only vote the council gets in the matter.
It's actually not.
Or not until
it's actually not.
It's not. No. It's not the only vote. It's not the only vote. Now listen to this. This is where we start getting crazy.
Remember what is already created.
And it's actually not. Just to clarify, I want to make sure, because I did find out more information since you and I talked about that. First of all, you've already voted twice to support this effort through.
Whoa. First of all, you've already voted twice. So this.
You mean Ben Gale, Anthony Emery, Diana Likens, and Rob Steele voted?
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
I mean, let's just be clear, people.
Yeah.
And on top of that, on top of what she's saying to them, is like, no, you guys have known about this. Well, if that's the case, if they've known about it for as long as she says and they've already voted on it, then why doesn't Jessica come prepared with all the numbers? She's had 3 years of collecting data, okay? But here's what blows my mind. As I'm sitting in that seat, my skin is beginning to crawl.
Yeah.
Okay? And let me tell you why. People, if this is such an emergency, and I'm sick and tired of hearing Dr. Green say he's the real doctor and I'm not. Well, let me tell you something, Dr. Green. What you should have been saying to every one of these people is, I want to know how many people have gotten sick from up there. I want to know what doctors have been, this has been reported to. I want to know all that's going on. I want to know how much of a health hazard this is. But you know what? Guess who wasn't in show last night? The health department.
Yeah, right.
But you're telling me this is such an urgency. It's got all this health stuff behind it. Then you take it as far to say you people haven't had legal counsel. No, they've had legal counsel. They've had legal counsel at every meeting. If they wanted to reach out to this attorney who's been there for the last 3 months, I'm sure he would have been happy to look at something.
Sure.
Attorneys get paid to do this stuff.
Yeah, right.
So if everybody pays attention, this is what they do in that county. They run down the time clock and they run it down and make everything an emergency. This is why we are in such a mess with that jail of $100 million, because they ran down the time clock and they ran down the time clock. And then they say, oh, we missed that interest rate. Oh, we missed this.
Well, it's amazing.
Diana Likens even brings that up during her speech because she wants this to go through. Well, this is the position we got into with jail. No, this is the position you got us into with the jail. The constituents didn't do anything.
It's
the
amazing.
only thing we did, the majority of us, is voted these morons into place.
Right. It's amazing to me that you can be so far late in the game, and it's also the very first movement. It's the very first step so far late into the game until Bethany's like, well, we only heard about this 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden she's like, no, you voted on this. So if they voted on this twice before, then this is not the first step.
And that's why
Okay.
she should
Finding
know
out.
more information. And,
Yeah.
you know, Bethany, I'll give it to her. She's who should be president of this council.
Hell yes.
And there's no question to it. And, you know, Christy, I got to give it to Christy for only being in the three months. She is the only one that is willing to back Bethany. If Christy never made it to this bench, everything Bethany's doing would die.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
And I am
years.
very disappointed in these council members that
Yeah.
nobody can back Bethany
Yeah.
except for Christy.
Yeah. Yeah. Jody needs to be ashamed of herself for that very fact that she never can be the second, or hell, she could make the motion and let Bethany be the second, or let somebody else, but it's always got to be Bethany. And thank God for Bethany 2.0.
And I don't want to hear a word from anybody in the community that Bethany has 4 kids. Let me tell you something. She has 4 kids. She's a busy lady. And let me tell you
Do
something.
with anything.
She's doing the best job of all these people put together.
Who gives a shit how many kids she has?
Right? But that's what you'll hear. So I'm telling you, this is who you need reelected up in District 1.
Oh, no question. No,
Yeah.
and they are going to primary her. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna run somebody against her so fast. It's not gonna be funny.
She's going to be
But-
stacked with Republicans and Democrats, I would say.
Yes. But here we go again, people. The power is in the people.
Yeah.
Her performance and her actions are solid.
Yeah. No question. No question. She needs to move out of here, and she needs to be a commissioner.
She does need
Honestly,
to be a commissioner.
that would
She
be
needs to move on.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So they get ready to spar here. Let's listen to this for a second.
The 2 ARPA initiatives that you have already granted money for. Secondly, there's this vote is next, and then there would be a nomination to the district, which would come near the end. But then any financial decisions that are made as far as moving forward on the actual project itself, with the bonding and so forth, would also come back to the council.
Right, that is what we discussed earlier. But what we voted on before was to fund like the study, for instance. But now it's whether or not we're going to support this new government entity that's going to have their own independent political entity that's going to have their own powers that are people who are appointed, not elected. And you start talking about eminent domain and abilities to force rule homes onto a utility that they may or may not want. And I want to hear how my constituents feel about this before I say whether I'm going to support it or not. Obviously, the county needs to address the couple neighborhoods.
Look, I know it's hard to see, but she's getting pissed right here.
You have no idea how mad she's getting unless you're in that room.
Yeah. She's starting to get mad.
Is aware of where there's an obvious issue. And from a health standpoint, I agree with that. That needs to be done, but I want to make sure we're doing it in a way that is also protecting property rights.
And did you mention that those constituents would have 180 days and things would be modified along the way?
It's even more than 180
More than
days
180.
because it would. That's what I'm saying. It comes out to closer to 9 months.
And the 5 members that are initially on this, then it is turned over to the district itself, correct? So those members will not still be.
That's the first board.
That's the first one,
Yes,
and then
yes.
but you did.
But that
mention-
also would happen at the end. So that would happen a year from now.
So then at the end, then they would have representatives,
Correct.
not the 5 people making up the political board.
Well, the board, it's the utility board, and this is how Fall Creek Regional was structured as well. The utility board is the utilities managed by the board, and the board is appointed by elected officials.
Now,
And I
did you
also
hear
wanted to
that?
s-
The
And I
board
know it's
is
already-
appointed by elected officials. Until we switch the elected officials in this county, the cartel will continue to recycle them. How many times has the Lycans put their people in place? How many times has Gardner put people in place? Look at Commissioner Richwine. I mean, they brought Tom Eckert on over from EMA. He didn't even meet the job description for the education level. And on top of it, was given a $10,000 raise without money being appropriated.
That was the most ludicrous thing. These
people are out of control. So now they're going to develop a board. And what did she say? Did you hear what she said? These are low income people. What does government do? They take advantage of the less educated and the low income people. There's nobody up here representing that class except for Bethany Keller and Christy Grabowski.
Yeah, 2 Republicans, I'll mind you.
And let me tell you, the reason why Bethany has such a vested interest, this is her district. She is District 1's elected official. So everybody's clear about that.
Yeah.
So she's got a lot at stake here. Kristopher H is a county-wide
I see.
county-wide elected official. So, but here's the thing. Jonathan Culp should be on top of this because he's a county-wide elected official. So should Scott Green.
Yeah.
Scott should be asking 1,000,001 questions about the health issues.
Absolutely. Now, they do kind of kick in here, not as much as I would like to see them, not as much as they should.
It's really just been the Bethany Jessica show.
This is the Bethany and Jessica hour, and it's amazing. This is almost done, but because this is going to come to a climax. So for those that don't know, they're either going to pass this resolution, which would go against what Bethany is saying. Bethany wants to table it and be able to talk to the constituents, which, praise God, that is what elected officials should do. We don't hear many people say that. Bethany's always concerned about that. I like that. So they're either going to vote on it or they're going to table it. And so let's continue listening to this little spat and then find out who wins here.
I already stated this, but I want to make sure that it's understood that this is what gives the county the ability to still maintain control of this.
Oh,
if the county does not
here's more fear mongering.
Form a utility, the county will not be able to manage the infrastructure project that is mandated to be done. And so that's where it's a fine line. I very much understand the concerns, and please don't take this.
I just
as
don't
not
care about them.
understanding them, but I want to make sure that that you understand that this is the utility board is the way that the county can maintain the control over forming how the funds are invested, how the projects are implemented, how the utility rates are, and the policies of who's required to connect and who's not. Otherwise, the county will be forced to pay for work and not have the same level of control with respect to the actual implementation, because it will be done on IDEM's terms, and that's the unfortunate situation, because this has been delayed for 20, 30 years. This has been it's been one of those things that's just always been pushed out.
There. People, the majority of you have been electing Rich Wine in for 30 years.
Yeah.
This is a Rich Wine screw up, just like the jail.
Yeah.
Gardner has been in his position. Remember, he's told this council, I've been in your shoes. I've been the auditor. He's been in this for almost 20 years. So this is what you're getting. Those are your screw ups.
Yeah. And look what Kate's saying here. And this is what I was telling Catherine last night. So I started looking into the IDEM crap with the whole Westell thing. And for those of you that are watching that aren't from Madison County, we are going to have more on the Westell stuff. I've got some stuff. There's more coming on that. But what I've learned from that is IDEM, it takes years. Exactly what Catherine or what Kate's saying here is true. It's not like it's going to be like, oh, we're coming in and we're snatching control from you right now. Remember, we're just in this is the first phase. Remember,
right.
This is going to take months.
Is the commissioners and Jessica.
Yeah.
We're at the situation now where if the county doesn't form a utility board, the county will not have control or even we'll have very limited involvement on how that moves forward.
And the people are going to receive IDEM. It's similar to the jail. I know on a grand scale, but basically, for years now, we were supposed to build jail.
Similar to the jail.
Federal regulations state we have to build it. Hey, if we don't build it, Madison County, we're going to do it. And guess what? We price the price tag, not you. You don't have control. Similar.
In some ways, yes.
But on the other hand, they've the health department, Jeff Graham, the commissioners, the auditor, the engineer, IDEM, the engineering consultation firms have all been meeting for months over this, and they've not involved us and the Monroe Township trustee. And you've given us.
They've been meeting for months, and they have not involved us. Listen to what Bethany just said there. They've been meeting for months, and this is the first we're hearing about it.
2.5 business days to make a decision if we support it or not. So, to be fair, I would like another month.
And to be fair, this is not the first time I've talked to you about this. I know this is
Woo, man. To be fair, this is not the first time I talked to you about this. Listen.
for new members, which is why I gave so much background information, but I've updated this group on the studies and the work that we've been doing numerous times since we've been involved in this. So
I do think it is concerning. We have obviously a lot of questions about it.
We can't hear you.
All right. And so here I have to say this because I think that they've said this a couple times to Jonathan over the last
Every month we say it to Jonathan, and that microphone has stayed broken. And you know who's responsible to fix it is Todd Culp's, his dad's, and it still doesn't get fixed.
well,
Jonathan needs to speak up and be heard or not speak.
the other thing is just really what would probably be beneficial is if he would just kind of bend down, grab his balls, and speak like a man. That
Sure,
would
that
be
would work.
beneficial. I don't know, like, there's not a place in that room that you could hide from my voice if I wanted to speak to let you hear me. Jonathan, how old is he?
He's like 27, 28.
All right, he needs to figure this
But
out.
it's the whole crew.
I
Jody
know.
does it. Rob Steele does it. I mean, they all do it.
Sure, yeah. Well, they're doing it to hide and to obfuscate. He's not exactly learned that yet. He's just being mealy-mouthed and whatever. He just needs to speak up like a man and just be at it. Like you know, listen, for there's 7 of them. Okay, 100, 200, 300. For $400, they could buy decent microphones that would be able to do what they need, but it's ridiculous. But we spend millions and millions and millions on God knows what.
Well, we got to fix the clock on the top of the
Yeah,
building.
right,
It hasn't
right.
worked for decades.
Right.
Speaking of, is this better?
Nope.
No, it's not better.
I don't think it works.
It doesn't work.
Speak like a man.
Use Rob's.
Just point it to your mouth. I was just saying, I do think it's concerning how many questions we do have. I do understand that there's a time constraint on it. We don't lose the funding. So I think really today, it's just a choice whether we wait, obviously, or not. I mean,
and many of the questions are not going to be answered at this time because this is so early in the process.
Right,
It's
Stumblefoot.
initiating the process. And again, the language in the
Not us, we
resolution
don't
can be
live there.
tailored to your comfort level, but the question is, do you support the concept of forming a regional utility district?
I do think most importantly, we don't lose power for this situation. I think that's important.
Well, if we don't control it or don't form this utility, we won't have to say so.
What about the owners?
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I just had a question, I'm
The motion
sorry.
is to table this consideration of this resolution for 1 month, until next month. Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
The question about the public being able to give their input, that's after the board is established, correct?
No, not at all. No, I'm sorry if that was what was heard. Not at all. Once we have the support from the council and from the commissioners, then the commissioners are able to start the process of the public meeting and then the filing of the petition, the receiving public feedback. We've been receiving public feedback for 3 years on this. It hasn't had the
Like this.
prominence because we are really now starting to get to where this actually has to go as opposed to just a broad look at the county. Public feedback can be sent at any time.
You know,
but
I'm
there will-
so sick of all of these governments, whether it be the feds or whether it be the state or whether it be Delaware County or Madison County, to pass it to know what's in it. You have to vote on it before you know anything about it. We won't know unless we vote for it first. Citizens won't hear from candidates unless or until he or she wins.
This is how we strong arm you.
Yeah, right. This type of bullshit from, it's just like, dude, we have got to get away from this mindset, and we need to break these elected officials and these candidates coming up of this type of thought. If you go into, this is what we need to tell all candidates. If you go into your term, I don't care if it's a 2-year term for representative or a 4-year term or a 6-year, if you at some point as an elected official say, we got to vote before we know, or we got to do this before we can see, or whatever. I don't care what happens. You're done. You could don't say that. Do not say that. We've been hearing it from the public for years. Now we want a board so we can tell them to shut up. Right.
And here's the thing. Everybody in Madison County knows you can't speak at the commissioners meeting. They don't allow for public comment.
Yes.
So, right. And then here's the other thing. So now you're saying, in 1 minute, you're saying we got to develop this board. Then the next minute you say the board's going to have all this say. And then the next minute you say, no, the constituents can speak before we initiate these board members. Well, who are they talking to?
Yeah.
They need to be able to talk to. So everything she's saying coming out of her mouth, you know what?
Yeah.
You should have just shut up.
Yeah.
Because she made it worse.
Yeah, she did.
Will be a public hearing before this is even submitted to IDEM officially. That's part of the process. And then that 180 days starts once IDEM moves forward on their side of it. So public input is heard and received long before we have members of a board appointed.
But I mean, we're establishing the board tonight.
No.
Okay.
No, the resolution is just saying you support the concept of pursuing this utility district, forming this utility district. The board would not be appointed until IDEM comes back and says the county has met all the requirements in IC 1326 for the formation of the regional utility district, and address the comments that were received, the feedback that was received to their level of satisfaction, and that forms the district. And then we would be looking at who the appointees would be. So we're over a year probably from having appointees for that.
You said there were different options that you could have used to achieve this outcome. My only concern is, I just echo what Bethany said, just the idea of appointed boards and the eminent domain aspect of it. That's
sure. And just to be clear, the other options would be a municipal utility, partnering with them, which is still, they would have to agree to essentially bring them into the service area. And that has not been, that hasn't happened. The second option would be to work with a private utility, which would completely take any control from the public officials away. And the third option is a conservancy district, which is not really an option in this case because of the continuous requirements, but they are similarly structured to a regional utility district. So the regional utility district is this is what they were formed for. I certainly understand that, and Councilwoman Keller and I had discussions about eminent domain. I'm not a fan of eminent domain, not at all. There's certain situations where it may be necessary, but in my 25 years of doing this, I've not had to pursue eminent domain on projects, and I really don't intend to start at this time.
I don't intend to start at this time.
That is one power that a utility has, and that's one of 100 powers that any utility would have. So,
any other questions or discussion? The motion is to table the decision on this resolution until next month's meeting. Clear?
roll call, please.
Roll call. Okay.
Councilor Seer?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Lycan? No.
No.
Grabowski? Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Keller? Yes.
Yes.
Vice President Moore? Yes.
Yes.
No.
All right. So
No.
Is the resolution accepted?
No,
It-
no,
Bethany's motion to table passed. Yes, Lisa Rinker, that is exactly correct. That is absolutely correct. It is completely government overreach.
And this is something that Lisa Rinker needs to jump all over. She's up north.
yeah, right.
She needs to be informing the people up there and talking to them about this. I'm not saying, if people need help, we should help them with what they need. But the way they're going about this and the way they're doing this is more of like, we're just going to ramrod this project through.
Yeah.
And that's what becomes the problem. I mean, and that's, and I don't know if anybody listened, but Bethany asked Jessica, so did she ask that? Did you hear her say, so how are you guys going to pay for this? How are you going to have the constituents pay for this?
Yeah.
And Jessica goes, well, they don't pay anything right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, people. And you should have seen how defensive she got when
Yeah.
Bethany asked her that question.
Yeah.
So these are already low income people. These are people who already have financial, budgets and strains. And now Jessica can't even estimate how much it's going to cost these people.
People
How can you
moved to-
have intelligent conversation?
Right. People move to the county in these small towns to stay away from all these big, city bills and taxes and these utilities and whatnot. And then it's like, oh, we're going to come get you no matter what. You don't have a say. And so it's crazy. And this is just that we've just got a few more minutes here. I just want you to hear. Now Jessica knows, all right, she's been defeated for tonight, and listen to her kind of attitude.
So then, to clarify, can we have a resolution drafted by, how do you want to move forward? Because I need to have a resolution, I need to have input on what the resolution says.
What? Who are you? You're
let
not
me tell you how you move forward. You come to the meeting with all the information and you come prepared.
Yeah, right. You don't leave pissy and then not talk to these people until next meeting. You pick up the phone on Tuesday morning and start trying to make this shit right. That's when, and then it's like, wait a minute, you're not an elected counselor. You don't have input on we'll let you know what the resolution is or whatever. Now, I understand that she's a quote unquote, topic expert or whatever. So it's like, I get it, but I just listen to this.
I don't have a legal counsel to work directly with yet. So how can you give me some guidance on how to?
Dude, like this guy's like, hello, you're talking. I'm in the room.
He's been there every month.
But moreover, they appointed legal counsel this meeting. So, they technically today have legal counsel she could work with. All you got to do is contact. Here's what Jessica should do. Jessica should contact Bethany. Bethany seems to be the most passionate about this. Bethany can tell her who the legal counsel is, and then Jessica can call that legal counsel. Maybe Bethany and Jessica could call together and they could start working through this that way. She's just looking for whatever way she can to,
and here's a newsflash. If you did things the right way and for the people, you wouldn't need to waste so much of our tax dollar monies with attorneys.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right.
Meet the concerns that we have, understanding that many of the concerns that were expressed are not things that we would have at this point in the project. So
I would like to see a copy of Indiana Code 1326 because I tried to find that and it doesn't look like it's a proper citation. I'd also like a copy of. So
they gave her an Indiana code, which it's not an Indiana code. It's technically that's a House bill number that she gave. So that's a really weird thing. So is it a House bill that didn't go through? Is it a House bill they're currently working on? Because Indiana code has like a series of numbers and dashes. It doesn't, like saying 1326. That's a House bill number. So I don't know what she's talking about here. That's weird.
Preliminary engineering report and the petition process detailed by Commonwealth engineers. That's what I would like.
Council, please. That's Indiana Code 1326, copied and pasted into a Word document. We did that earlier today. And as far as drafting the resolution, all Indiana codes have that.
That's why I couldn't find it.
So I would ask, I would just agree that I'd like to see a copy of the preliminary engineering report, as well as the petition from the Commonwealth emailed to us, so that we can address that right away. And I would say that I would be willing to review that within the next couple days, and then to look through the resolution to see what changes.
Update the text for us. Okay, wonderful.
I would like to have a discussion on the statement, whereas the formation of the Madison County Red will promote economic development and residential growth. Because that's not something that we've discussed. And so far it's been to just address environmental issues. So in what ways this would affect economic development, residential growth within the county, or within the unincorporated areas of our township.
And that's standard language in these type of resolutions, but it certainly can be modified if that is your preference.
We've seen that. The physical application of Southern Madison County, but the regional race district, which we were on, very moving, very beneficial and great for that area. So it does bring more growth and contribute to the growth and popularity
stated purposes of utility districts. That's one of the stated purposes of utilities and utility districts, because infrastructure is so tied towards economic development. That's not meant to be specific to Monroe County. That's just the nature of a utility district and one of the stated objectives of them. Anything else? All right.
President Green, can you notify the firm we hired to get
Yes. What we'll
pass
do
that
is,
information on?
for those who have questions, if you can make sure, if you're not clear what those are, to email her to articulate them would be helpful. We'll communicate with the new firm relative to issues related to the resolution. So we can get that squared away and address it next month.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the thoughtful consideration for both the questions and the answers. It's difficult, the tension that exists that we feel between the individual autonomy of a citizen and yet the responsibility of the state to provide for issues related to public health. That tension isn't going to go away, and every once in a while it abides, and we feel it tonight. And I just appreciate the thoughtful consideration.
I would just appreciate if Dr. Green actually asked questions based on public health.
Yeah, right. right.
And I had several just sitting in my seat that I would have said, so how many people have gotten sick out there? Are we seeing an increase or an uptick on people being admitted to the hospital with something in the water? I mean, what does the water systems look like there? What has the testing been like? I mean, this was a complete joke. And if this, I'm telling you right now, Rose Holman, you should be embarrassed of what you've produced. Now, I want to remind everybody that Jessica used to be down in Pendleton on that council. Like, she used to do this down in Pendleton. They parted ways. Call it what you want. I'm trying to be polite.
Okay.
And if you look at her track record on LinkedIn and you average her jobs, she only can keep a job for about 2.5 years in 25 years. So she's got a lot of, what you should say, she's got a lot of knowledge that is very superficial because she's never stayed anywhere long enough to get into the meat and potatoes of a company. That should be concerning to people. You know, and here, why wasn't this leak just traced back to the source? Well, that would take time and energy. That would take a health department who actually enforced and made sure people were out doing their job. You know what I'd like to know, Lisa? Why hasn't it been all over the front page of the paper?
Yeah.
If IDEM is involved at this point, this has been an issue and the county has been covering it up. Just saying, you know, and, you know, they think that they can get grant money to do this. They think. This will fall on the taxpayers, just like the jail has.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, these are, and somebody else said here tonight, you know, why are these houses selling if they've got so much damage out there? That's the truth. They are selling, you know. And here's the thing, people move to rural areas for well water and septic systems because it saves them money in the utilities and it maintains their homeowner usually a lot more sanity when maintained. You know, that's the other thing is you're adding to stack on more bills with these people. You're asking to take away their autonomy. But you know what, people in Madison County, we got a water issue. Yeah. And I am encouraging people to order these kits off of from the State Department. Post your results, see what's going on out there. You know, while this is they're saying let's tap into the city at Monroe. You know how many people contacted me last night and today? My phone has blown up that their water is brown out there. They got water issues out there in Alexandria. So if you're going to hook up to it, you better make sure that the water is pretty solid, or you're just changing out one thing for the next. And I have a feeling with why they want to hook up to a lot of these. There is a problem. IDEM has said there is a problem, but they want these county people to help the city people to pay for the new water infrastructure that's going to have to come. This isn't going to just be in Alexandria. This is going to be all over. And the problem is that people keep electing people in there. They're getting money from government facilities to replace the water, but they're not putting that money in the water system and they haven't been maintaining it like they should be. And so what the problem here with everybody that watches this show, none of you are showing up to say, where is the money going?
Yeah.
And we want answers. And that's what has to start happening. Where is this money going? So
Yes.
those are the kind of things about this water. We could do 5 shows off of this meeting last night.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was such craziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sent
yeah.
you another clip of the meeting
Okay.
as well in Messenger. But if you want to show that resolution real quick in Messenger of what she's asking them to sign, because there's some important stuff in here that she's asking them to sign without knowledge. I mean, when you can't tell me a basic how many constituents this is affecting, the meeting should have stopped right there. There should have been no more conversation because she did not come prepared. And this is a waste of time and energy, not only to us as constituents, but to the council that's sitting up there.
Now, I will say I'm glad. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The minute she broke into her second or third, I don't know, they should have been like, okay, well, that's all we got to hear. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they had that discussion so that we could have so much information on what was happening versus what's not happening or whatever. I'm so glad that they did that because we wouldn't have had that amazing discussion had they not. So here's the resolution that she was wanting them to do. And I know this is a little hard. I'll read it to you. It's resolution number 25 3B. I don't know. They do theirs different than the commissioners. Anyways, a resolution of the Madison County Council supporting the formation of the Madison County Regional Utility District in Monroe Township. Whereas the Madison County Council recognizes the critical need for enhanced sanitary sewage disposal and treatment in the unincorporated areas of Monroe Township, Madison County, Indiana, and the establishment of the Madison County Regional Utility District here in Rudd, as outlined in the petition submitted to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management here in IDEM pursuant to Indiana Code. That's so weird. That's not Indiana Code. Ugh. I hate that. That's House Bill. I still would like to figure out what this is exactly because I've been looking for it and I can't find it. So that's not.
Well, now here's the thing. She said it was 3 or 4. It was like a couple of years old. That's what I'm saying. Did she look to see? She's using it. She is recycling this. So is this still even valid?
Yeah. What?
1326.
Yeah.
13-26 of the Indiana Code is talking about wastewater, sewer, all that.
Okay.
All of that. So it is code, but they're referring to an entire section and not putting in the hyphen the way they're supposed to.
Oh, so they're not talking about the exact. They're not looking at. They're just looking like the whole chapter.
Like the whole section.
Yeah. Okay, that's funky.
Because I looked up House Bill 1326 and it's got something to do with scholarships for teachers and students or something this year. I don't know.
Are you using your headphones or not using your headphones?
I have one on and one off.
I mean,
Jessica doesn't even.
Hold on. Are you speaking into the thing? I think you need to click your thing all the way in.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm going anyway.
No, you're all right.
Jessica doesn't even take the time to make it where everybody can see. I mean, this is just nuts.
Yeah, it's really strange. So we'll have to look this up and find out exactly what she's talking about. But okay, so going on, we'll mitigate public health risk and environmental pollution by replacing outdated and failing on-site septic system with modern sanitary sewer collection system. And the formation of the Madison County RUD will promote economic development, residential growth by providing essential wastewater infrastructure and support to the community's current and future needs. And the council has reviewed the preliminary engineering report and petition process detailed. The council has reviewed the preliminary engineering report and petition process detailed by the Commonwealth engineers. Okay, so That's interesting. Commonwealth engineers, they've done some stuff some other places. I'm going to have to look there. I think they're very questionable. Anyways, and notes the Madison County Board of Commissioners has already adopted a similar resolution of support for this initiative. And the council values the collaborative effort of local partners, including Madison County Health Department, the City of Anderson, and other stakeholders. I don't give a piss about the Madison County Health Department or whatever. All right. In advancing this initiative, let's see, advancing this initiative now, therefore be it resolved by the Madison County Council that the council hereby declares its unequivocal support for the formation of the Madison County Regional Utility District as an independent political entity under Indiana Code 1326. The council urges IDEM to approve the petition following the required public hearing and to issue orders establishing Madison County RUD. And the council pledges to appoint the trustee to district boards of trustees to specified in the petition and collaborate with all involved parties to ensure the district's success. Crazy.
So this is how they used to do it in the past. Somebody has sent, I mean, I'm not, Dave's on here. He watches us. He's not afraid to have his name said. Madison County, if you're watching, I just sent you a messenger. There appears to be a Facebook page I was not aware of. Many of you, especially if you've got Alexandria people, you need to get on this page and start inviting the Alexandria people to it. I don't know, Dave, if you can invite like Lisa Rinker and those guys, or maybe Bethany, and see if they'll tag onto it. But look at this page. Down the drain and our wells drain dry. This is the Residents for Better Choices, right? So go to the next picture of that. Somebody went and read that.
Okay, I went to the Water Department today and looked at the preliminary engineering report by Curry and Associates. Here's what I gathered from the report. The proposed well field and treatment plant is located across from Robin Hood Drive by Myers. The new plant can extract 4 to 6 million gallons of water a day. This is the equivalent of the daily usage of between 13,333 and 20,000 households. 3, completed construction, if approved, could be in August of 2027. From what I could tell, no impact study was done on the potential for a water table drop affecting the wells of homeowners in the cone of depression. From some of the studies I've seen, this could impact homeowners for a long distance off. Some of these studies showed a drop of 10 to 20 feet in the water table. These affecting could be felt 10 to 20 miles away. Since most of us have shallow wells, this could have a serious impact on our water situation. On page 516, the following statement: proposed project will not affect groundwater. Dewatering is not expected, will not impact sole source aquifer. This section will be amended pending final location of phase 2. I did not see an amended section. 6, these four wells should have a 24-inch diameter estimated down to around 133 feet of depth estimated. Note, this gives me great concern. I do not want to have to find a way to come up with $15,000 to $20,000 for a new well if my well runs dry because of this. At the very least, a study needs to be done and assurances made of restitution if this causes harm to the homeowners in the affected areas. Wow.
So if now Myers, everybody, you know, that's down south, right? And if you listen to Jessica, she's talking about how great they have this whole thing down south, and that she called them and asked them if they could be a part of that and down south said, no, we don't want any of this. You stay up north and do your own thing. So this might be just a good example of what people up north need to start asking about and looking for. I think you should join this page, see what you can do. Maybe you'll get some people from here who can help you with what's going on up north. Kind of like how I did the LKQ project in Lapel, and then people came to me and asked me to help with the Malarkey project when that was coming to town in Anderson. here's what I want everybody to understand tonight. You saw a liar tonight. Now, you can't say she's an exact liar. She just didn't give you enough information because
Obfuscated the truth.
right?
Not
You
telling-
didn't ask
yeah.
the right questions. And I
Yeah.
don't know if Bethany Keller's watching. I don't know if Christy Grabowski's I don't know who's watching. But here's what the question should have been. Jessica stood up there and scolded the counsel, saying that they have not had counsel attorneys in order for her to send any information. Okay. Now, we just met last night, which was the 11th. Last Tuesday, what was that? The 4th?
4th.
The 4th. Is everybody aware that on the 4th, in the 19-minute commissioners meeting, is when they passed this? This is when they passed the resolution 7 days ago. So for Jessica to skew this whole thing that it is the council and the council isn't doing this and the council is failing, it's not. Jessica, go back to your bosses. Go back to your commissioners who have appointed you. Have a discussion with them that they're making you look like a buffoon.
Yeah, right.
That's who you need to be scolding, not this council, not Bethany Keller, who's fighting for the constituents.
Yes.
Somewhere people have clearly forgotten. The constituents have voted you into these seats.
Yeah.
But the constituents are now awake. They are no longer asleep at the wheel.
Right.
So that's the reality after you listen to all that. The commissioners just passed this 7 days ago. No wonder they just got it on Friday. The answer should have been from Jessica. Why didn't you give it to them on Wednesday?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And this is no excuse. God rest his soul. Ron Richardson was put to rest yesterday. May our prayers and love be for their family. But the mayor of Alexandria was tied up for 2 days with a funeral service.
Yeah.
A lot of elected officials were tied up, doing other things. So I just want people to be aware of what's happening. We've got a lot of resources. We've got a lot of smart people on social media. The Herald Bulletin's not going to report any of this.
Oh, no. Not at all. Not at all.
This is the whole thing. And again, I know it's late. I know we only got to this one topic. If you have not watched this video, I'll be putting clips out. You've got to see what Rick Gardner is trying to do with what we talked about at the beginning and trying to pass that ordinance. They want $5.5 million. What I want to point out to all of you with that Rick Gardner show, he only came in for 1.2 million this time. He will be back in increments until he gets to that full 5.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, listen, Slick Rick thought that he was going to come in. Tom Eckert was there. Tom Eckert's usually the one who does this. But Tom Eckert he's like, we'll get crucified. Well, they did.
Yeah.
And Rick couldn't get it passed through. All of this, people, has been calculated moves. You got to watch the Linda Smith show. The Linda Smith, here's what happened with Linda Smith. What happened with Linda Smith was, and you've got to watch that. Maybe Chris will let us have a weekend opportunity.
I was going to say, maybe we can get together. Yeah, because there's a couple other things we need to go through.
There's so much to learn from this.
Yeah.
But what I want you to understand from Linda Smith is Linda Smith was supposed to be getting $1 like per warrant.
Yeah.
Right. That started in 2017. Well, looky there. Mellinger never brought it to anybody's attention.
Yeah, right.
Right. And Pratt, who is deer in the headlights, we want to say, oh, she's our youngest, clerk we've ever had. Well, clearly we've all seen where that got us. I'm all about, I was young. I did great things when I was young, but you've got that. You recycled her into commissioner.
Yeah.
Pratt needs to be at that podium answering why she never figured out that wasn't going to a perpetual fund. Oh, and here's even a bigger news flash. Rick Gardner, who's your commissioner now, and I say that because I didn't vote for him. He's sitting in the audience as the auditor. Or as the commissioner. He was the auditor in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Why didn't he know about this? Why doesn't the council make him get up there and answer for that? After all, he's still an elected official. He's just in a different seat.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
is a such thing, and I don't know if you can explain to the people, Chris, the word malfeasance.
Yeah, I mean,
it's real.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, that's the problem is, and it's like they feel like this is not happening. It's just, it's wrongdoing by a public official, and it can be done many different ways. It can be purposefully done. It can be not purposefully. I mean, it's kind of that whole thing where they say ignorance is no excuse of the law, and that's very true, and so you've got to watch out for that. That's the whole thing with toxic positivity. They're like, well, they didn't do it on purpose, or they, they weren't, purposeful in their malfeasance. Well, look, first of all, I don't know if I believe that or not. People who, just do it accidentally. I don't know how accidentally it is.
I mean, here's the thing. How many times are you accidentally going to allow the clerk to look over all the election crimes that are going on here, right? But then she can show you, she knows what she has to do. She knows how to get a search warrant. She knows how to get things done. She knows how to prosecute. But now she's telling you, well, it's different with the cartel. So right there, they've all told on themselves.
I guess I'm wrong. I guess misfeasance is unintentional and malfeasance is intentional. So, but they're both present problems for elected officials and for citizens, and they both can, right. How many times are we going to watch these people overlook this shit? It's crazy to me.
And I'm going to tell you how long, Kristopher. You want to know how long it's going to go on? As long as the people tolerate it.
That is exactly.
Well, I want everybody here to know something. I believe that people are two ways. You're either unwilling or you're unable.
Yeah.
I am unwilling to tolerate this anymore.
Yeah. Before we go, I do want to play one last little clip of this. This is just for a few seconds. I want you to hear something and this was a nothing part. I just want you to hear something that happens when the council asks for public input, and then they decide, oh, well, we're not going to take action on this. So, well, we're not going to allow public input. And I want you to hear something that Scott Green says here. I want you to hear this. First of all, stop giving your addresses up there, people.
I didn't give my address. I was waiting for him to say something.
I know. I'm so glad. Just get up there and say you're a Madison County citizen, man. All right, listen.
Good evening, Council. Nick Freeman, 2003 State Street in Anderson. So the question. Sorry.
Thank you for. So
we're not taking action.
Now, you notice it's Rob Steele who comes in and says, we're not taking action on this, so we do not need to hear from the peanut gallery. Now, listen.
I apologize.
I was out of order. Hold on. Now, listen.
So we have to have a motion in a second before public comment comes on this particular issue. You'll just give us a moment. I'm gonna put it out to see if there's a motion that anyone would make.
Wait for it.
Okay, and
wait for it. Look who has to motion.
Yeah. No one makes a motion. He said,
Bethany does. No, Bethany does.
No. She does not make the motion. She just says, I want to hear from the public. She does not make a motion on this. This thing dies for lack of a motion. Look, go back. Go watch what happens. She does not make a motion. Watch what happens. Okay, watch what happens here.
We're not taking action.
Yes, I apologize. I was out of order.
So
we have to have a motion in a second before public comment comes on this particular issue. You'll just give us a moment. I'm gonna put it
I'm going to put it out here for a motion. And then, so what someone have to do is they'd have to say, I would like to make a motion that we, now listen.
See if there's a motion that anyone would make. Seeing none, this request is.
Now, so generally what would happen in this spot by this council, and I'll tell you what would have happened if Ben Gale, if his bald head was sitting there in the president's desk, he would have said, there's no motion, we're not taking action, there will be no public comment. No matter what Bethany says, he would have been like, okay, no, your thoughts and wishes, I don't give a shit about. No, everyone sit down. That's exactly what he would have done because they're not hearing motion. What Bethany says is, President Green, I would like to still hear from the public comment. I'd like to hear their thoughts on this. And God, I love her. That was an amazing thing. I wish more people would do exactly what she did. All 7 of them have that authority. At any point, any of these council people can say, I would like to hear from the public. I would like to give the public longer. I would like to have the public speak. The commissioners can do it. Pratt can do it. Delaware County can do it. Henry County, anyone can do this. What she did was great, but this is still not the main point. I want you to hear what Green says here.
Well,
Can we suspend the
I would
rules
second,
temporarily
yeah.
and
I'm
listen
glad
to
to hear
public
public
comment?
comment. If you guys are okay with that, I'm certainly fine.
She says, and this is the one nick with Bethany, I'm going to say, and I'm not jumping on her. She says, can we suspend the rules? And he's like, well, I'm okay with that if that's okay with everybody else. Listen to what he says here. Here it is.
So I'm just trying to make sure I'm following the proper etiquette here. But the will of the council would be to hear you. So please share your name and address and what you have to say.
I just want to make sure I'm following proper etiquette here. This is not an etiquette thing. Like,
it is an etiquette thing. You should be listening to every one of your constituents for as long as they want to speak.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So there's no etiquette that says like this. I get what they're saying. If they're going by Robert's rules, like this is not what happens. But this is where I say, first of all, there's no state law that says we are bound by Robert's rules. Some councils and some bodies use Robert's rules. Some do not. Some use the other specific types of rules that are out there. But you don't need or want to be totally handcuffed by it. You want to be able to be flexible. And in the grand scheme of things, I don't give a shit if it's your state representatives or your state senators. I don't care if it's the city council or the county council or county commissioners or school board or whatever. The number one priority should be listening to the bosses. And the bosses, I mean the citizens. That should be the number one priority. And so they act like, oh, I want to follow etiquette, this and that and whatever. Okay. They tabled it. They will be hearing it again. Public comment at this point would be valid. That's very true. You know what? And listen, there's nothing, because there are going to be people say, well, when they hear it next month or whenever they untable it, they would hear public comment. Great. Hear it now and hear it then. Hear it now and hear it then. Let them speak. Maybe someone will come next time that wasn't here tonight. Maybe this guy can't be there next time or whatever. Maybe Catherine can't be. So let them speak as much as they can. I heard this, and this was so cringy to me when I heard him say that. When I heard Scott Green say, I want to do good by the etiquette, whatever. I'm like, no. So I'm glad that Bethany stood up. I'm glad that Bethany said what she said, and they did go ahead and let this gentleman speak. They went ahead and let Catherine speak and anyone else and everyone else. Now, we won't play it because we will do something. We can do something this weekend or something first next week, whenever is good for you. Because there are about 3 more important things to talk about in this meeting. that we do need to cover.
And
But
these are all opportunities that could be happening in somebody else's county. That's why we want to
absolutely.
talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, as always, I appreciate, that was Nick Freeman. That would have been really bad if they would have made him sit down, because that's who they just nominated into the Republican treasurer leadership chair. And so that would have been really funny if they would have said, nope, we're not going to even listen to the Republican leadership.
Screw him. If you're going to make everybody else sit down like you have for years and years, then he shouldn't get a talk either. But my thought is, let him talk, let everybody talk, let the haters and the people, our friends, everybody hear from everybody.
It's the only way we can learn.
Absolutely. This meeting was crazy. I'll tell you, this was probably one of the Madison County meetings that I watched intently from start to finish, because so much crazy shit happened that I was like, yeah, this is a good learning lesson, not only for the people of Madison County, but from all areas of just things that go on and how you're pushed and things
you're
going.
You're watching the commissioners come in and deceive and do a money grab.
Yeah.
You're watching the engineer come in and just pull the wool over your eyes and say, sign a blank check. You watch the clerk who tried to come in and grab money. Listen, sister, you didn't catch it until now. You'll have to wait till the next budget to get that money.
Yes.
I mean, it just went on and on and on. And so there's lots of great parts to watch this, but we know we have engineers all over that have incompetence all throughout America. I mean, look at our counties.
No,
yeah. It's because inept elected officials employ and appoint inept people.
Yeah, right.
So that they can keep their finger on them and say, you owe me.
Yes.
And that's what becomes the problem. I've always lived with this: hire and employ people smarter than you. In my practice, I am the one who is, I feel, not the smartest one in the room. I feel like everybody in my office is way smarter than me in their area. And then I get to collectively take all their brightness and absorb it, and then I get to put it all together with what I have. So employ people who are smarter than you. Don't be afraid of that. That's what makes you shine.
She has
and
one.
That's
hell
where
of a
our elected officials are failing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's no question. That is absolutely correct. So, well, this was good. We talked about a lot. Everything we talked about tonight was level A, very important shit that all needed to be talked about. We could have talked about any number of these things. We will schedule a time here real soon to have you back on to discuss the other 3 topics.
I can do Saturday. I just can't do Friday, and I can do Sunday. So whatever works.
All right. I'll look see what the deal is with you. Maybe we can have you back on Sunday, and that way we don't have to do a Friday or Saturday. Well, I'll see what's going on. See what's happening with you. We'll go on from there. So I appreciate your time. For anybody that wants to see the full meeting, we did live stream the meeting. It is up on our page. You can click to it. It's live on location. It's in the playlist. You can also go to the description of this episode and click. It's in the description. You can find it. It's very, very easy. I want to tell everybody that is on here, look, right there's everything. You can find our social medias.
And listen, play it when you're commuting back and forth to work. Listen,
yeah. You don't have to look.
Put it. Yeah, you don't have to watch the video. You're not watching anybody come to blows.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, listen, you'll hear if it's something that you need to look at the screen, because we'll be like, look, or you'll hear when it's a picture or whatever. And half the time when it's pictures, you don't even need to look because we're telling you what it is. So we like the visuals and we like you guys to watch, but you can do it by audio. So, and there is also the audio podcast. It'll be a minute before it's up. But let me tell you this. I do want to say, for the people that watch this and look at stuff for Katherine on Facebook, I am going to be telling everyone from here until it happens, June 29th, and I know that sounds like a far long time away, but it is not. June 29th, Facebook changes. I finally got the date. I looked at what Facebook changes how they do their lives. So I am going to be pushing everybody between now and then. If you watch this program on Facebook, you need to find another way to watch it. You need to watch it on X. You need to watch it on YouTube. You need to watch it on Rumble. And if you need help getting there, that means if you need help finding out how to watch it, if you need help finding out how to make an account so you can connect and watch, you don't need an account to watch, but you do need an account to comment and to be involved. And that's what we want people to do. So if you watch from Facebook, Catherine's stuff or my stuff, I'm trying to get Katherine to stop sharing the stuff on Facebook and just share the links, because Facebook is going to be going away the way that they do stuff on June 29th. So you need to kick over to YouTube, to Rumble. And here's the clue. I don't do the live on locations on Rumble. The only place that you get the live on locations is on YouTube. So that's the main place. So please start doing that. If you need help, email me, text me, call me. I'll figure out a way to help you get over there. It's very easy. My grandparents are both in their mid 80s, and since they've kicked over and are using YouTube, it's easier for them. And so things are much better, but that's the way, because eventually Facebook is going to be gone. So I'm just telling you, if you don't, you will run out of being able to see this show or see any of Katherine's meetings or anything else. So just FYI, YouTube is not a good place. They are censor and it's a bunch of bullshit, but so far they haven't hurt us tremendously. I don't know. Maybe they don't push us out to more people or yada, yada, yada. But so far I've not had a battle with them. I'm sure one day we will, but I haven't yet. So YouTube currently is the way to be. X and Rumble were all there. So just keep that in mind. We will schedule another time with Katherine. Thank you very much. Stay put there, and I will. I love it. I will stay right there, Katherine, and I'll be right back with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Damn it, I knew I pushed the wrong thing. That's going to do it for us. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great Thursday, FYI. Tomorrow is Thursday the 13th. A couple points of interest. DCRC, Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting. It's going to be a big one. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's going to be a big meeting. That's going to be important. Also, tomorrow evening at 6 is a very important Muncie Fire Department Merit Commission meeting. I'm going to be in attendance for both of those meetings. So we'll be talking about both of those things tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We will go live tomorrow at 9 p.m. God willing. We will be live for our normal time. And then tomorrow evening, when we get off the show, we'll be going outside for the lunar eclipse. So for everybody that's interested in that, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But remember, that is tomorrow evening. So take care. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I won't live stream the meeting. We'll see. We'll talk about it and look at it in the evening. But we won't be live streaming the meeting in the morning. So it'll just be what it'll be. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 9 a.m. Take care. God bless. Good night. And I guess good luck. Goodbye. Hit the thumb on the way out.